So welcome back, guys. Here's another episode. Today we're just going to be doing the spoiler. I haven't got the paint through yet, I'm still waiting for that to come through, but I have got the spoiler and some primer, so I'm going to be sanding it down and getting it primed up and hung ready for paint this week. So I'm waiting. I've got some Tiger Seal, and once we've bonded it to the car, that'll be the job done. There's not too much to do. Just a quick respray on this spoiler because the one I've got at the moment is currently yellow, and my car is Zenith grey, so it's a metallic-y sort of grey, so hopefully the colour match is alright, and we'll see what happens when it arrives. Okay, so there's the spoiler done. It was yellow. All I've done is just sand it all down and then brush off all the dirt. There's a couple of little bits of damage around here which I've smoothed out. Other than that, it's in really good condition. I just need to finish sanding this top bit. Once I've sanded that, hang it up some wire on the ceiling above me, and then I shall be just giving it a quick coat of primer just to seal it all up and get it ready for the actual final coat of paint. So this is all painted. As you can see, I've got little bobbly bits from the primer. That's all got to be sanded down. It's quite rough at the moment, so I'm going to get a bit of 1000 grit sandpaper on there and just run it across, a bit of wet and dry. The car at the moment, where the old spoiler came off, on the top side here, the centre, and there has got a little bit of glue residue which has pulled some of the paint off and that, so I'm just going to be touching them up and just giving them a quick sort of quick spray with some of the colour match paint. I've already sanded one side down, I'll show you that now. So this is it sanded down, ready for a bit of primer and that. I'm just going to mask off across to this line and then across the bottom here, and then it will blend once I've polished it and painted it. It's all smooth at the moment now, but before, as you can see, there was little bits of glue in it. Where they've put the old spoiler on, they've keyed up the surface. That's why it sort of didn't really stick too well. And then on this side again, you can see there's just light grazing. So I'll just sand all that back and just a bit of primer and a bit of base coat. Then maybe 2 or 3 coats of clear lacquer, because I've got to machine polish it to blend it all in afterwards. Right, that's the base coat on there. And it has got a slight little colour change, but that's because that bit's been primered. This bit hasn't. Once the lacquer goes on and I polish it back, it should come up pretty well. You do give it a wet sand at the end of the process just to match it in. There's the top bit where I've took out all the little imperfections along here, and there's that side as well. As you can see, it's a pretty good colour match. Shouldn't be able to notice it once it's done. It's only a tiny bit. I mean, this whole area will be polished, so you won't actually see much of it. And you won't get any lines or anything like that. It's just a case of letting it dry. Right, so it's all painted and lacquered. Now it's all dry. It should be dry by the end of the day, but I'm going to leave it until probably tomorrow, maybe Saturday even, just to fully dry up. So while that's drying, the car's also drying. They're just tiny little bits that needed a little cleaning up from the old spoiler there. Where they'd put glue and everything on there, it had messed it up a little bit, so all I've done is just sort of clean it up, sprayed it over, and the colour match is really good. I'm really happy with how it's come out, so all I've got to do is wait for the car to dry, which should be dry in about 2 hours, then just take the tape and everything off the outside of the car, leave it like that for maybe a day or two just to fully harden and set. Once that's set, I can then come back and machine polish it and give it a quick wet sand and then polish it just to blend it all in, so you don't actually see all the where it blends across the paint. Right, so we've got the back of the car into paint. It's all I don't know if you can see it properly now, but it is all colour match and painting. The lacquer's just drying. Once the lacquer's dry, just take all this film off, leave it for a day or two, and then wet sand it all back and polish it all up. There is, you can see the blowy little bits up there. That's where the lacquer sort of just spread thinly, just to blend it in. But the colour match is pretty good. I'm happy with it. So take all this plastic off later on today, wet sand it back, probably tomorrow or Monday, and then polish it all. Once it's polished, that'll come up like the rest of the paintwork. and then just a case of fitting our spoiler. So okay, spoiler's all on, it's been painted, bonded onto the car. Now I've just got to leave it for probably 24 hours. So what we're doing now is just going to wet sand this, so you get a bit of wet and dry. This is 2000 grit, you can see it's really fine, and you can see just these little bobble bits. That's just the high points and low points in the lacquer. So all we have to do is pretty much just get that so it's real smooth. Like over here, I've pretty much got this side down there. I just need to do a little bit more in here and just here, so eventually it will look like this. You need to use a lot of water, because you'll ruin the sandpaper really quickly. Once you get it real smooth and that, you just literally get a machine polisher and polish it all up, and it will come up shiny. The spoiler all done. There's a difference in, you see this is kind of matte looking then, rather than this bit which has still not been sanded, and then the gloss on here. So all this does is it levels out the lacquer where you've sprayed it on. I had to do a little repair just on this edge where the old spoiler took a load of paint and everything off. So it's just a case now of flattening off the lacquer, so you get bumps in the lacquer which are little ridges, and with a wet sand that takes that all off, and then a polish will just polish it back up to the right sort of shine that it should have. This is all dirty still. I mean, we've got seagulls and everything around here, and they drop so much turd on the car, it's unreal. I do try and get it off as quick as possible, but it's been sat here for a couple of days and they just attack it. So I mean, you can just sort of see the bobbly effect on this bit where this is shiny, so you get a bit of, I mean, this is 1000 grit. I've got a bottle of water, spray the water on, wet sand it until you get a smooth silky sort of consistency over the top of it all. Yeah, that shows you better there. I mean, when it's like this is how you want it. And then you get your machine polisher and buff it all up, and that will come up shiny. You can do the same to this bit now, and then once that's done, we'll polish it all up and show you the final result. That's all of that sanded. I mean, you use your hands is the best way, because you can really feel the grit, and whereas unless it's like glass smooth, you'll feel like a little rough edges. Your hands are the best tools because they're really soft and they can just pick it out. So that's all sanded. I've got the machine polisher out. I use a fast cut compound which will cut all that and shine it nice, and then once that's done, I'll put a layer of a layer of polish, and then I will just seal it with a layer of wax afterwards as well, because obviously this is fresh now. It'd just be nice to protect that little bit, and then I'll probably give the car a good rinse off, because it's all in all the door shuts and down the back edges of here and everywhere like that. And there we have it. That is just compounded. Now I've just got to polish it and see how it goes. As you can see, it's pretty much shiny just as it is now, so the polish will just give it that extra little pop. Okay, so that's the final layer of wax that I've put on. The stuff that I'm using is actually this Valet Pro beading marvellous, brilliant stuff. I got it in as a tester for a car once, and I put it on and it leaves just a great coating, and the water just runs straight off it, so I've chucked it. And there we have it, that's the final result. This is obviously original paintwork here. Over here is the bit that we've sprayed. It is ever so slightly tiny bit more dull, but you're not going to really notice it once the car's all cleaned up. This is kind of dirty, and that's all finished now, so all we've got to do is just clean the car off of all the dirt, because there's quite a lot of dirt around where we've been sanding. It's all sort of really gritty, so, and there's a bit of bird poos everywhere, so I'm going to give that a clean off now and take for a quick test drive. I mean, this is quite a good demonstration of how good this car Valet Pro stuff is. The left hand side here has been done with the Valet Pro beading marvellous, and the right side hasn't. So as soon as you add quite a lot of water to it, you can see on the roof it just sort of sits there, and then it's just straight gone off the other side. So I will get the whole car with that eventually. So there we go, it's all done, it's all on, it's glued on, it's polished up, it's shined up. As you can see, there is literally no difference in the paint there. It was just a blowing up the top and just to clean up these edges and spray the spoiler. So for a little rattle can job, it's not too bad at all. I'm quite happy with it. So that ends off the video today.